Sara Davies from Crafter's Companion, and I'm going to show you how to make this fantastic card. Now it's using the dies and embossing folders from the Sara Signature series, the Butterfly Lullaby collection. And we're going to do some really simple embossing onto some Centura Pearl. I'm going to show you how to die cut and emboss the beautiful dies that we've got in the collection. And I'm also going to show you how to use a product called Stick It to help you get a perfect stick with these. So if I put the card to one side, and we'll start off with some embossing. Now this is the embossing folder that I'm going to use. It's the butterfly corner one, and you can see you have the butterflies in the corner, but you've got that screen printing on the front so that you can see exactly where your embossing is going to appear. Now what I've done is these are 6 inches square, these embossing folders. So I've cut a piece of card to 5 inches square, so it's not going to be the full size of the embossing folder, but we can then just see where we want that to appear. So I'm going to put that right down the bottom corner. And then I'm going to pop this through my machine. Now I'm using the cut and emboss machine. So I've got the D plate and then my embossing folder sandwiched between 2 A plates. But the great thing with these embossing folders is they're going to work universally in all the different machines that are out there on the market. So if you have a Cuttlebug machine or a Sizzix Big Shot or the Grand Caliber, they all work in exactly the same way. You just need to look up in your instruction booklet the sandwich that you use for embossing folders, okay? So what we'll find is because I've used that on the Centura Pearl, that should give me a perfect detailed emboss. And I find on the Pearl you really don't need to do anything else to it because it is just the way it catches the light. Now what I've done is I've got another sheet of Centura Pearl which I'm going to mat and layer that onto. But before I do, I'm going to do some die cutting, and I find that if you want to die cut, there's nothing to stop you die cutting into the centre of one of your mats and layers, because all this essentially just becomes scrap card. So I'm going to use that, and I've got the beautiful swirl dies from the collection. So these are the dies, and you can see anywhere where we've got the light green on the front of the packaging, this is an emboss for your die. So I'm going to die cut these in the very centrepiece of this card through what's going to become the scrap. I'm going to make my sandwich up appropriately. So for die cutting, using thin metal dies with a cut and emboss machine, I've got my D plate on the bottom, and then I've got my B plate and my magnetic mat, and then your dies just sandwich between the 2 A plates. So if I lift the first A plate off, this is just going to lie in here. Now the beauty of the cut and emboss and it having such a large platform, it means we can do all of our die cutting at once. So I'm also going to die cut, if I show you on the card, I'm going to die cut the happy birthday at the same time. So I've got a piece of pink cardstock and I've got the happy birthday die, but because I'm going to want to stick this down flat, I'm going to use a product called Stick It. Now this is Stick It here. It was designed by a guy called Ken Oliver, and what it is, it's double-sided adhesive sheets. So I take a sheet out, not the front sheet obviously, because that's just the information sheet, but if I take a sheet out of the packet, what you can see is you've got here, just peel off the back, and we can lie our cardstock over the card here. So I'm trying not to waste too much of the card. So I'm going to just use my scissors, I'm going to go on, to just cut right up to the side of the card. And then again from this side here too. And you find you only need to use exactly what it is you're die cutting with. And then of course I can peel this little piece of backing off here. So now I've got to stick it all over the back of that card. And you'll see where that comes into its own in a little while. So we're going to cut the happy birthday. So I just position that on there as well. And I'm going to make that sandwich and offer that into the machine. Now these are really, really intricate dies. So if you find that perhaps when you use them on your machine, they don't cut perfectly the first time, don't worry, it's nothing to do with the sharpness of the die, it's just about the pressure in your machine. Now with the cut and emboss, you've got the electronic gears, you've got everything really powerful, you're getting the highest pounds per inch pressure. But with other machines, you might need to either send it through the machine a couple of times, or you might need to do some additional shimming. If I just show you that there, we can see how that's cut perfectly. And you can see on this one here, it's also cut that really detailed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out the magnetic sheet, I'm going to take out the happy birthday one because we're going to emboss these. You don't need to emboss the happy birthday one. And we just lie the magnetic sheet over. Actually, we might as well emboss the happy birthday one because it just gives a little bit more detail. And then I'm going to offer these back through the machine again. So the first pass through the machine does your cutting, and the second pass does the embossing. And by adding that rubber mat in, that's a really pliable mat. And what it does is it pushes, the pressure in the machine pushes that mat into the areas where we've designed for it to have embossed detail. So that is what I was showing you on the front here. Anywhere where we have the lighter green areas, this was designed as embossed detail on each one of these dies. So if I lift these out now, that's all of our work done there. First of all, I can lift these out. And you can see there just how detailed these dies are. There we go. And actually we don't need to be sticking on it, so I'll just cut that piece out of the centre. Now that is going to, remember that was going to be the matten layer. So all I do now is use a little bit of tape. This is the Crafter's Companion tape pens I'm using here. And that is going to matten layer onto there. And for all I've just done a flat matten layer, it does just give it a little bit of dimension. And then I've got a base card, and you can see there's all of our die cutting, but it's all going to be completely covered up. That's the other great thing about these tape pens, you can move around corners with them. And that is going to layer onto the front of our card, so nobody would ever know that we've used the inside of that base piece of card. So if I pop that to one side, here are our dies. So just using a pokey tool to release these, and just be super careful with them because they really are very, very detailed. And just lifting this out. Look how beautiful these flourishes are. So there we go. There's one of the flourishes. You can see how sharp the dies are and what a crisp edge you've got on there. And then there's the other flourish. And I just find adding these flourishes to some of my cards makes such a difference. And we're going to add these. I might do it a little bit differently to that one. I'm going to add them around the base card there. And then I've just got a circle of card which I'm going to sit on here. So what I'm going to do is I want the circle to be raised up. And I'm going to use some 3D glue gel on the back of the circle to raise it up. And just for ease, I'm going to use my tape pen again to stick these down. So we just need a good stick to hold it in place. And then the same here with this one. I'll put a little bit on the back of here to hold that in place. And then this circle is just going to sit on there like that, ready for our happy birthday. Okay, so the happy birthday itself, if we lift this out, remember we put the sticket on the back, and you can see the sticket's already starting to peel off there. Yeah, so the sticket's just releasing off. If I push out the happy birthday first, and then I'll show you how we release all the rest of the sticket detail. So just be very, very gentle because these are really, really intricate dies, and you don't want to damage the die as you release it out, the die cut that you've done. So there's my die cut, and then all these little bits of sticket, you're just going in and peeling all the back. And what it's essentially done, this sticket, is it has made this die, this paper, into self-adhesive pearl. So I've now got a full sticky background wherever we peel off the backing, and it's going to stick perfectly on my card. So there we go. I can feel all that stickiness. I'm trying not to lose too much of it. And then that just sticks on like that. Oh, there's a couple of pieces in the centre. And what I should have done really is stuck this down before I put my 3D glue gel on, because that's just going to take a little bit of time now. I don't want to press it too hard. You see, when I press it down it sticks perfectly, but obviously I've got the glue gel behind there. And if I press it down, I'm going to lose the 3D element of the glue gel. But once that glue gel dries, I'll be able to go back in there and stick that down perfectly. Just raise that up a little bit. There we go. So if I just show you that there, you can see just having that little bit of colour, and that's that pink Centura pearl. I haven't done any colouring to any of the background there. And if I show you the one that I'd done earlier, all I've done extra on this one is added a couple of more die cuts of the butterflies that are in the same collection, and it just adds a little bit more colour down around the bottom. But to be honest, I don't think it needs it, because that beautiful embossed detail just stands proud itself on the card. Makes a fabulous, really simple card, that one.